I picked up Clara's phone to make a quick call to a client, but what I saw made me drop it like it was burning. Her messages with my son-in-law were laid bare on the screen. My mind refused to process it at first. 29 years of marriage, countless shared memories, family laughter, all illusions. I realized immediately that I couldn't let this slide. A plan started forming in the back of my mind. The charger cord lay coiled on the floor, motionless like a dead serpent. My hands trembled as I rifled through drawers and cabinets, panic gnawing at me. In 15 minutes, the deal that could change everything for my career would slip away. "Ethan, what's going on?" Clara's voice called from the doorway, a dish towel draped over her arm. "Phone's dead. Can't find the charger anywhere." I yanked cushions off the couch in frustration. "Harrison's expecting my call at 8 sharp regarding the new Park Avenue property." Clara didn't hesitate. She handed me her phone with a calm smile. "Use mine, love. Your birthday's the password." Relief flooded through me. After nearly 3 decades together, Clara still knew how to bail me out. "You're incredible," I murmured. She kissed my cheek lightly and headed to the kitchen. "I'll finish dinner while you handle business." The phone was warm in my palm. Face recognition unlocked it instantly. I dialed Harrison, then froze. A notification blinked at the top. "Lucas, 7:32 p.m. He'll never see this coming. Documents almost ready." My son-in-law's name stared back at me. The preview was enough to make my stomach twist. I should ignore it, respect their privacy, make the call, but curiosity won. I tapped the message. The conversation opened like a wound. 3 days of scheming between Clara and my own daughter's husband scrolled before my eyes. Each line stabbed sharper than the last. "Clara, Monday, 3:15 p.m. Are you sure about this? What if Ethan suspects something?" "Lucas, Monday, 3:18 p.m. Don't worry. I've handled dozens of these. He won't notice a thing." "Clara, Monday, 8:22 p.m. Timing has to be perfect after the Park Avenue deal closes." "Lucas, Tuesday, 11:45 a.m. 60/40th split as discussed. You get the house and retirement funds. I take the business through Nora." "Clara, Tuesday, 2:13 p.m. Nora doesn't know anything." "Lucas, Tuesday, 2:15 p.m. She thinks I'm working late on a merger." "Clara, today, 4:30 p.m. I hate lying to her." "Lucas, today, 4:33 p.m. It's cleaner this way. No messy feelings." "Clara, today, 7:28 p.m. When do I file?" "Lucas, today, 7:31 p.m. In a month, everything will be ready." The phone shook in my grip. 29 years of marriage, building a life, raising a family, creating a legacy, and they were scheming to ruin it all. Footsteps echoed from the kitchen. Clara was back. I slammed the thread closed, heart hammering. The screen returned to the home page just as she rounded the corner. "How's it going? Did you reach him?" I studied her face. The same hazel eyes I'd fallen for in college. That smile that had soothed me through grief, celebrated my triumphs, kissed our daughter goodnight for years. "Not yet," I replied, forcing normalcy into my voice. "Just dialing now." Harrison's voice crackled through the speaker. "Ethan, finally, Park Avenue, are we moving forward?" Clara moved around the kitchen, radiating domestic perfection. How many times had I watched this same scene? Clara cooking, me handling business, our life, a rhythm of trust. "Yes, terms look solid. We'll close in 30 days. "Excellent. My client's ready. Papers should be ready Friday." Every word felt muffled, underwater. The discussion of contracts now carried a sinister weight. Clara wanted to wait until after this deal to strike. Smart, maximize assets before the betrayal. Perfect. I'd need my attorney soon against my own son-in-law. "Friday then. Pleasure doing business, Ethan." I ended the call, handing the phone back. "Thanks, love. Really saved me there." She squeezed my shoulder, concern in her gaze. "You look pale. Everything okay?" "Just tired. Lots of work lately." The lies slid off my tongue. 29 years had taught me to read her, but I'd missed the most important cues. We moved to the dining room. Clara had set the table with the wedding gift china, crystal catching the chandelier light. Perfect. Beautiful. False. I cut into the roast beef. So, how was your day? Quiet. Did some shopping, she replied, smiling, oblivious to the storm I was quietly brewing. I called my sister. Another lie. I found myself studying her face, searching for the subtle tells I'd missed before. The pause before mentioning her sister, the way she avoided my gaze when describing her afternoon. How many times had she fabricated visits? Those weekend trips that grew more frequent last month. Evening yoga classes that ended late with no hint of exercise exertion. New jewelry from clearance racks masquerading as luxury to my trained eye. Sophie called that afternoon. Clara said casually, "Lucas's got a major corporate case. Long hours." My fork froze midair. Really? What case? She didn't elaborate. Lawyers were always cryptic about client matters. I nodded, playing the understanding father-in-law, while fury bubbled inside. Lucas wasn't working on any corporate case. He was orchestrating the dismantling of our family, using my own daughter as camouflage. Clara reached across the table and brushed my hand. "You're quiet tonight." Her wedding ring gleamed in the light, the same ring I had placed on her finger decades ago. We had vowed to love, honor, and cherish until death, not until greed intervened. "Just thinking about the Park Avenue deal," I said. "Big opportunity. Proud of you, even at 63, still closing major deals." The praise felt poisonous. She admired my success only because it increased the spoils for her to take. Later, I lay awake beside Clara, listening to her steady breathing. 29 years of sharing this bed, this life. In the darkness, pieces snapped together, cold kisses now perfunctory, phone calls ending when I entered the room, a sudden interest in financial documents and retirement plans. Signs had been there. I had been too trusting, too absorbed in work, too comfortable. Now I knew, and I needed an ally. 2 weeks of sleepless nights gave me time to plan. I chose the half-empty corner booth at Central Park Cafe on a Wednesday afternoon. Back to the wall, eyes on the entrance, Ruby appeared at exactly 1 o'clock, punctual as always. She smiled, the same brightness from childhood. "Dad, so good to see you." She slid into the booth. "Been too long since we had lunch." "Too long," I agreed, forcing cheer as my stomach churned. Orders placed. Ruby spoke of her students, a difficult parent conference, winter break plans, mundane details masking a ticking betrayal. I listened, observing her, searching for signs she knew about Lucas's plot. Nothing. Innocence untouched. "Ruby, has Lucas been different lately?" I asked. Her fork paused midair. "Different how?" "Working late, secretive, working on something big, corporate stuff, very confidential." The same story Clara had spun. Lucas was thorough. I had to give him that. "Sweetheart, what I'm about to tell you will change everything," I said, pulling out my phone. "I need you to trust me completely." Her smile faded. "Dad, you're scaring me." That night, I borrowed my mother's phone for the Johnson call. I saw what I wasn't supposed to. I showed Ruby Lucas's messages, watching confusion bloom into disbelief, then hard resolve. "This can't be real." "Mom, Dylan, no, I know it's hard to accept," I said. Ruby's hands shook as she reread the thread. 60/40th split of business assets, funneled through her. She realized they were using her. Lucas was stealing from us while she cooked his meals, believing his lies. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," I said. "I know how much you trusted him." Anger flared in her voice. "He's been stealing while I cooked for him and believed him." The question lingered. "What do we do now?" Ruby straightened. "A steal I hadn't seen. We stop them. It won't be easy. Lucas knows the law. Mom's been planning for months. We plan better." She leaned forward. "What do you need me to do?" "Observe Lucas without letting him know we've discovered anything. Document everything. I need proof beyond these messages. And your mother, I'll handle her. This stays between us. No one else can know." She nodded firmly. "When do we start?" "The moment you believed me instead of defending them," I said. Ruby squeezed my hand. "I'm sorry, Dad, for what they're doing." "For what, Lucas?" Her voice cracked. "I married him thinking he was honorable. We've been fooled. Not anymore." She straightened her shoulders. Timeline, end of the month. They'll file after the Park Avenue deal closes. 2 weeks to gather evidence and protect everything. 2 weeks to show them who they're messing with. I smiled. For the first time since that terrible night, genuine warmth returned. Ruby, whatever happens between your mother and me, you're the best thing I've ever done. Tears sparkled in her eyes, voice steady. We're going to win, Dad. They picked the wrong family. She left first, duty calling, straight-backed, determined. My little girl had grown into a formidable woman. 1 week later, I sat in the sterile office of Chen Investigations, business cards strewn across Thomas Chen's desk. The investigators reviewed my notes with professional detachment. Infidelity cases take patience, Mr. Burke, Chen said. Your wife's confidence in deception usually makes them careless. We need photographic proof, complete documentation. Money's no object, I said. Based on credit card statements, Clara frequented Manhattan locations, the Plaza Hotel most often. My stomach knotted. Twice weekly for 2 months, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I had been oblivious, buried in property reports. Chen revealed spa visits, jewelry purchases, intimate dinners. Are you prepared for what we may find? I was. 3 days of surveillance confirmed my worst fears. Secure emails showed Clara entering the plaza with a younger man, hands intertwined. Her yoga instructor, 6'2", muscular, 28 years old, Mike Rodriguez. I researched him obsessively. The BMW was probably purchased with my own credit cards. My phone buzzed. Ruby reporting from Lucas's office. Dad, I brought him lunch and saw the filing documents. They plan to take everything, except the house, business, retirement accounts, even the car collection. Anything else? I asked. Timeline notes in Lucas's handwriting. Filing March 30th, right after your Park Avenue deal closes. Brilliant strategy. Wait until your net worth peaks, then strike for maximum damage. Ruby, be careful, I warned. Don't let him suspect anything. Too late for that. I already despised him. 4 more days of documentation remained. Chen's team captured Clara and Mike at romantic dinners, weekend getaways to Connecticut, shopping sprees where she lavished him with gifts purchased from my finances. The paper trail revealed $3,000 in unexplained monthly expenses, all fueling her affair. I spread the photographs across my office desk like a general planning battle strategies. Clara laughing with her lover, kissing him outside Cartier, entering hotels hand in hand. 29 years of marriage reduced to evidence folders. My secretary knocked. Mr. Burke, your wife called. She'll be late tonight. Another yoga session. Yoga session? I almost laughed. She was probably orchestrating her next rendezvous while I catalogued her betrayals. Knowledge was power, and I would need every ounce of it to destroy them. Chen delivered the final surveillance report personally. Everything you requested, Mr. Burke. Timestamps, locations, financial documentation. Your attorney will have all needed for court. I locked the evidence in my office safe and called Ruby. Another meeting was necessary. Central Park, same place. What did you find? She asked. More than I expected. Sunday afternoon brought gray March clouds, weight heavy with secrets. I reached the park bench 15 minutes early, manila folders tucked beneath my coat. Ruby arrived with purpose, her teacher's bag over her shoulder. Dad. She hugged me, tension palpable. This felt like planning a war, because that's exactly what we were doing. We settled on the bench as families strolled past. Children laughing, couples holding hands, normal lives unfolding, oblivious to the betrayal brewing in their midst. What did you discover about Lucas? I asked. Ruby pulled photocopied documents from her bag. Complete asset division plan. He's calculated everything, even your office furniture. Her voice trembled with restrained anger. They're giving you the house and 1 car. Everything else goes to Mom and Dylan's legal fees. I scanned the pages. 29 years of accumulated wealth reduced to line items in my son-in-law's handwriting. Business property, investment accounts, even Clara's jewelry marked for redistribution. There's more, Ruby said, pointing to Lucas's precise annotations. Timeline notes showed planning had begun 6 months ago, long before I saw those messages. While I was proud of Lucas's career, He was plotting my ruin. I muttered, "Ruby, what I'm about to show you concerns your mother. It will hurt." After witnessing Lucas's betrayal, she could handle anything. I handed her Chen's surveillance photographs. Ruby's face shifted as she processed Clara's indiscretions, the hotel entrances, intimate dinners, shopping sprees. Hands shaking, she whispered, "Who is he?" "Mike Rodriguez, fitness instructor from her yoga studio." Everything had been lies. Ruby stared at a photo of Clara kissing Mike outside Cartier, scheming to take half our assets and start a new life. Ruby set the photographs down. "Dad, I need to tell you something about my marriage to Lucas." "What is it?" "It's over. After seeing his greed, his betrayal, I cannot stay married to him." She straightened, pride mingling with concern. "Are you certain? Divorce isn't easy. Neither is living with someone who treats family like opponents to be defeated." She gathered Lucas's documents. "Besides, we have bigger matters, stopping them before they destroy you." We spent an hour coordinating strategy. Ruby would gather intelligence while appearing normal. I would document additional evidence and prepare legal counterattacks. "One more thing," I said. "I want to confront them both together. They need to know what we discovered." "When?" "Family dinner this weekend. I'll invite Lucas and tell Clara we need to discuss family finances." I smiled grimly. They would think it the perfect chance to manipulate me further. Ruby laughed, a sound I hadn't heard in weeks. "They have no idea what's coming." "None at all?" I asked. She stood, gathering her evidence. "After this is over, what happens to our family? We build something better, something honest." I watched Ruby walk away, confident, determined. My daughter had found a strength I hadn't known existed. Next weekend, Clara and Lucas would discover exactly how dangerous that strength could be. Wednesday evening found me in the kitchen, surrounded by credit card statements and financial records. Clara hummed while preparing dinner, completely at ease, unaware of the day I'd spent reviewing her betrayals. "Clara, I've been looking at our expenses," I said, holding receipts from luxury spas and jewelry stores. "Some of these charges seem unusually high." She glanced up from the stove. "High how?" $3,000 monthly at Manhattan spas, $500 at Tiffany's last week alone. Her pleasant expression became guarded. "Honey, I'm just taking care of myself." "Is that wrong?" I kept my tone reasonable, feigning confusion. "Shouldn't we discuss expenses this large beforehand?" Clara turned fully toward me, abandoning the stove. "Morris, you make me feel like I need permission after 29 years. Don't I deserve nice things?" Perfect manipulation, turning irresponsibility into a critique of me. "Of course you deserve nice things." I backtracked, apologetic. "I just want to understand the budget better." "You've never worried about money before." She moved closer, hand on my shoulder. "Are we having financial problems? Should I be concerned?" Another deflection, now the worried wife, selflessly concerned about family security. "No financial problems. The Park Avenue deal alone would bring in $2 million. I watched her eyes light up. "I suppose I'm being cautious. You work too hard." Martha kissed my cheek. "Maybe I should cut back on spa treatments. More time together. Brilliant recovery. Sacrificing small luxuries to avoid scrutiny while appearing devoted." "Don't cut back on anything," I said, gathering the receipts, pretending to accept her explanations. "After all these years, you've earned the right to pamper yourself." She returned to cooking, crisis apparently resolved. "Sometimes you forget I'm not just a housewife. I have needs, desires, dreams. Dreams like stealing my business assets to finance a new life with Mike." I nodded sympathetically. "Absolutely right. I get so focused on work I forget everything else." Clara beamed, convinced she had successfully managed the situation. "That's why I love you, Morris. You always listen." I watched her finish dinner, noting the ease of her lies and manipulation. 29 years of marriage, and I finally saw the real Clara Burke, the woman who could look me in the eye while plotting my destruction. But next weekend, I had a special family dinner planned. Clara would soon learn that her performance hadn't been as flawless as she believed. 3 weeks had passed since our kitchen confrontation. Evidence finalized, Ruby coordinated, and Friday morning found me entering our bedroom with Clara's favorite French roast with cream. "Honey, I brought your favorite," I said, setting the mug on her nightstand, referencing last week's argument. She opened her eyes instantly, alert. "Morris, you're so sweet. I didn't want us fighting over money." "Neither did I," said, sitting on the bed's edge, apologetic. "You deserve to enjoy yourself after all these years." She smiled, that same charming expression from college. "I appreciate you saying that. Actually, I've been thinking." I sipped my coffee, letting the idea develop naturally. "We should do something special this weekend. Have Ruby and Lucas over for dinner like old times." Clara's face lit up immediately. "What a wonderful idea. It's been months since we had a proper family gathering. Saturday evening work for you?" "Perfect. I'll make Lucas's favorite, the roasted chicken with herbs he always raves about." I kissed her forehead, tasting bitter irony. "You're the best wife a man could ask for." After Clara headed to the bathroom for her morning routine, I called Ruby from my study. "Sweetheart, dinner tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Are you ready for this?" Ruby's voice carried nervous determination. "As ready as I'll ever be. Do you have everything we need? Complete documentation, photos, financial records, Lucas's legal papers, everything. And Mom still suspects nothing. She thinks she's won our little financial disagreement, completely confident." "What about Lucas?" "That's my next call." 20 minutes later, I dialed my son-in-law's office. "Lucas, good to hear your voice, son." "Morris, great timing. I was just thinking about calling you." "Really? About what?" "Oh, just checking in. You seem more relaxed lately, less stressed about business matters." Interesting observation. Lucas had noticed my improved mood since gathering evidence of his betrayal. "Clara's right," I said casually. "I do work too hard sometimes. Speaking of which, how about joining us for dinner tomorrow? Clara's making your favorite chicken." "Sounds fantastic. Ruby and I would love to come." "Excellent. 7 o'clock. And Lucas, bring your appetite. Clara's planning something special. Wouldn't miss it. Thanks for thinking of us." I hung up, leaning back in my leather chair, surveying the evidence folders locked in my desk drawer, photographs of Clara's affair, financial records of her deception, Lucas's conspiracy papers captured by Ruby. Tomorrow night, my family would finally learn the price of betrayal. Saturday evening arrived with unseasonable warmth for April. I arranged wine glasses while Clara added finishing touches to the formal table. Our wedding china, crystal stemware, everything perfect for what she believed was a celebratory family dinner. "Morris, does this look right?" Clara adjusted the centerpiece, white roses from our garden. "I want everything beautiful for the children." "Absolutely perfect." I opened our best cabinet. "This calls for celebration." The doorbell chimed at exactly 7 o'clock. Ruby punctual as ever. "They're here." Clara practically bounced to the entrance, genuinely excited. I followed, watching my daughter embrace her mother, while Lucas shook my hand with characteristic confidence. Both relaxed, unsuspecting, Ruby flawless in her role. "Something smells incredible," Lucas said, loosening his tie. "Clara, you've outdone yourself again. Just your favorite chicken with those herbs." Clara beamed. "Come, let's sit." I opened our best wine, and we settled around the table. Warm light cast a false intimacy over the scene. Clara served generous portions while I played gracious host, refilling glasses and proposing a toast. "To family," I said, raising my glass. "To the bonds that hold us together." "To family," everyone echoed, crystal chiming against crystal. Lucas cut into his chicken enthusiastically. "Clara, this is restaurant quality. You should start a catering business." "Oh, you flatter me too much." "No, I'm serious. You have a real talent for hospitality." Ruby smiled at her mother, then caught my eye across the table. The slight nod confirmed she was ready. "So Lucas, how are things at the firm?" I asked casually. "Many interesting cases lately. Busy season definitely. Lots of family law work. People getting divorced, asset divisions, that sort of thing. Must be challenging. All those emotional situations." "You learn to stay objective," I said. "Focus on legal aspects rather than personal drama." Clara nodded approvingly. "Lucas is so professional, always puts clients first. Family comes first for me." Lucas corrected, reaching for Ruby's hand. "Everything I do is about building our future together." Ruby's smile remained perfectly in place, though her grip on her wine glass tightened. "More wine, anyone?" I stood, refilling glasses. "We're celebrating tonight. No reason to hold back." "What exactly are we celebrating?" Clara asked. "Family loyalty," I said, settling back. "Trust, the things that really matter in life." Lucas raised his glass, "To loyalty and trust." We drank, and I excused myself from the table. "I'll get dessert ready." Instead of heading to the kitchen, I walked to my study and retrieved the evidence folders from my desk drawer. 5 manila envelopes, each labeled and organized, the complete documentation of betrayal. Time to serve the real dessert. I returned to the dining room carrying folders instead of dessert plates. Clara looked up, confused. "What's this, Morris?" Her voice carried the first note of uncertainty I'd heard in months. "Where's dessert?" she asked. "I've prepared something more interesting than dessert." I remained standing, placing 1 envelope in front of each person, keeping 2 for myself. "Evidence." Lucas frowned. "Evidence of what?" "Your conspiracy to steal my business assets and destroy our family." I opened Clara's folder first, spreading surveillance photographs across the table, like a dealer revealing cards. Clara and Mike entering the Plaza Hotel, intimate dinners, shopping expeditions, where she lavished him with expensive gifts. Clara's face went white. "Where did you get these?" "Professional investigators, very thorough ones." I turned to Lucas's folder. "Your turn, son." Ruby reached across, opening Lucas's envelope herself, revealing photocopied legal documents, asset division plans, timelines, and projections showing his expected share from the conspiracy. "How did you?" Lucas's voice trailed off as understanding dawned. "Ruby photographed these during her visit to your office last month," I said, smiling at my daughter. "She's been quite helpful." Lucas turned to Clara in shock. "Ruby, you knew about this." "I knew about your greed." Ruby's voice carried steel. "I'd never heard before. Your willingness to betray my father while pretending to love our family." "You don't understand the legal complexities," Clara interjected. "I understand you planned to steal everything he worked for, while lying to my face every single day." Clara had been examining the affair photographs with growing panic. "Morris, I can explain about Mike." "No need for explanations." I opened my second folder, revealing financial documentation, $3,000 monthly financing her affair, hotel bills, restaurant charges, expensive gifts for her boy toy, all funded by my success. "It's not what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like. A conspiracy between my wife and son-in-law to destroy my life and steal my assets." Ruby stood abruptly, facing Lucas with fury I'd never seen from my normally gentle daughter. "How could you do this? I trusted you completely." "Ruby, please, if you just listen." Lucas reached for her hand. "Listen to more lies." She laughed bitterly. "I've heard enough lies to last a lifetime." Lucas stumbled, calling her name desperately as she grabbed her purse and headed for the door. The front door slammed. Car engines started in the driveway. Clara and I sat alone in the wrecked dining room, surveillance photographs scattered across the remains of our so-called celebration. "Morris," she whispered, "what happens now?" I began collecting the evidence folders methodically. "Now you discover what happens when you betray someone who actually plans ahead." Clara stared at the photographs, hands trembling. "Morris, honey, I can explain everything. This isn't what you think. I've seen enough. Photographs don't lie. But I love you." She stood, reaching toward me. "Lucas manipulated me. He convinced me you were planning to leave me with nothing." "Lucas manipulated you into having an affair," she said. "That's different." "I was lonely, confused. You were greedy." I turned fully to face her. $3,000 a month on your lover, while planning to steal my business. Tears streamed down her cheeks. 37 years of marriage has to mean something. You can't just throw it all away. "I didn't throw it away, you did. Every time you met Mike at a hotel, every time you and Lucas discussed dividing my assets." Clara sank into the couch, surrounded by evidence of her betrayal. "What do you want from me? What will it take to fix this?" "Nothing can fix 37 years of lies." "They weren't all lies. I did love you once," she whispered. Once. The word hung between us like a death sentence, but it hadn't been enough to keep her faithful. not enough to protect what we built together. She picked up one of the surveillance photos, herself laughing with Mike outside Cartier. "How long have you known?" she asked, her voice small. "Since February. Every hotel visit, every expensive lunch, every lie about yoga classes. Why didn't you confront me then?" I collected the folders methodically, stacking evidence like a prosecutor preparing for trial, because I needed to understand the full scope of your betrayal, Dylan's involvement, the legal conspiracy, everything. What happens now? Tomorrow I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer has everything prepared. Martha's face crumpled. "Morris, please, give me another chance. I'll end it with Mike. We can go to counseling. The woman I married wouldn't have needed a second chance. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated plan to destroy my life and steal everything I've worked for." I headed toward the stairs, leaving her alone with the wreckage of our marriage. At the doorway I paused. "You should call a lawyer, Martha. You're going to need one." Upstairs I could hear her sobbing in the dining room. 37 years of marriage, reduced to evidence folders and legal proceedings. But justice, I had learned, wasn't always pretty. Sometimes it was just necessary. Monday morning found me in the elevator, ascending to the 42nd floor of Williams & Associates. The mahogany briefcase beside me contained every piece of evidence that would secure my victory: surveillance photographs, financial records, Dylan's conspiracy documents. Attorney James Williams stood as I entered his corner office. Diplomas lined the walls between floor-to-ceiling law books, creating an atmosphere of professional authority. "Morris, I've reviewed the preliminary materials you sent," he said, gesturing to a chair across from his massive desk. "In 30 years of practice, I've rarely seen a case this clear-cut." I settled into the leather chair, opening my briefcase. "How confident are you about the outcome?" "With evidence this comprehensive, Martha's infidelity is documented beyond any reasonable doubt. The conspiracy with Dylan adds another layer of betrayal that courts take very seriously." Williams spread the surveillance photographs across his desk like a poker hand. "These alone guarantee you'll retain 80% of marital assets, the business properties, investment accounts, all protected. What about Dylan? Will he face consequences for his unethical behavior?" "Absolutely. I'll be filing a complaint with the New York State Bar Association. An attorney conspiring against a family member while providing legal advice grounds for disbarment." Relief flooded through me. Professional consequences for Dylan's betrayal felt almost as satisfying as the financial victory. "Timeline-wise, how quickly can we proceed?" I asked. "Emergency filing this afternoon," Williams replied. "Given the evidence quality and Dylan's professional misconduct, I expect expedited proceedings. Court date within 2 weeks." Martha had hired representation, Patricia Knox, competent but limited by weak facts. She might attempt emotional appeals, but adultery evidence is absolute in New York divorce law. "My daughter Ruby has agreed to provide testimony about Dylan's conspiracy," I added. "Excellent. Family testimony supporting documentation creates an unbreakable case." Williams looked up. "Morris, I want you to understand something. This isn't just a legal victory, it's complete vindication. After what they put you through, vindication feels appropriate. Justice will be served thoroughly. Martha loses her financial security. Dylan loses his career. You retain everything you've rightfully earned." Williams began preparing legal briefs, while I signed document after document: divorce petitions, asset protection orders, evidence submission forms. Each signature, another step toward justice. "One final question," I said as Williams scheduled our court appearance. "Any chance Martha could somehow reverse this outcome?" Williams smiled with professional confidence. "With evidence this overwhelming, impossible. Justice has already been decided. We're just making it official." 2 weeks later, I entered the New York Family Court building with Williams at my side. Across the marble lobby, Martha stood with her attorney, looking smaller somehow, diminished by the weight of her exposed betrayals. "Courtroom 314, Williams murmured, guiding me toward the elevators. Judge Thompson presides. Fair, methodical, unimpressed by emotional theatrics. Ruby waited in the gallery, offering me an encouraging smile. My daughter had chosen her father's side decisively, her loyalty unwavering despite the family destruction. The case of Burke versus Burke, the bailiff announced as court convened. Petition for divorce with asset division. Judge Thompson, a stern woman in her 60s, reviewed the case file with professional detachment. Counselors, please present opening statements. Williams rose with quiet authority. Your Honor, we have irrefutable documentation of adultery and conspiracy. The defendant conducted a prolonged affair while plotting with counsel to defraud the plaintiff of marital assets. Martha's lawyer, Patricia Knox, attempted damage control. Your Honor, this case involves complex emotional factors. My client seeks fair division, considering 37 years of marriage. Evidence presentation, Judge Thompson directed. Williams displayed the surveillance photographs on courtroom monitors. Martha entering hotels with Mike Rodriguez, intimate restaurant meetings, shopping expeditions for expensive gifts. Each image struck like a judicial hammer. Financial documentation shows systematic deception. Williams continued, presenting credit card statements, hotel bills and gift receipts. $3,000 monthly financing of the defendant's affair, hidden from the plaintiff for 6 months. Knox tried deflection. Your Honor, marital difficulties often lead to poor judgment. This evidence suggests calculated deception rather than poor judgment. Judge Thompson interrupted, studying Dylan's conspiracy documents. Attorney Grant's involvement adds professional misconduct to personal betrayal. Martha attempted to speak. Mrs. Burke, you'll have the opportunity for testimony if your counsel calls you as a witness, the judge said. Knox wisely declined. No testimony could overcome photographic evidence and financial documentation. Judge Thompson deliberated for exactly 12 minutes. Evidence clearly establishes adultery and conspiracy to defraud. Asset division will reflect the defendant's betrayal of marital trust. The gavel fell with finality. An 80-20th division favoring the plaintiff. Business assets, properties and retirement accounts remain with me. Martha receives minimal spousal support. William squeezed my shoulder as the courtroom erupted in quiet satisfaction. Ruby approached from the gallery, tears of relief in her eyes. Dad, you did it. Justice won. Outside the courthouse, Manhattan bustled with normal life while my world had been permanently restored. Martha emerged separately, walking alone toward an uncertain future. 37 years, I murmured to Ruby, as we descended the courthouse steps. But the last 6 months showed who people really are, she replied. And you, Dad, are exactly who I always believed you were. Together we walked into the afternoon sunlight, our family bond stronger for having survived betrayal and emerged victorious. Justice, I'd learned, was worth waiting for.